Hello and thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. And also if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and click on that bell button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. So for today's DIY, we're going to need a plunger and two of these signs and two of the turkey baster hooks. Just remove the bottom of the plunger. Set aside your signs, and with your turkey baster racks or hooks, we're going to go ahead and insert the pole in between the round part of your hook. And we're going to add some Gorilla Glue and a little bit of hot glue. And then insert, like I said, insert the pole or your stick into the rack, like so. Now I just eyeballed the first one, but I want to say it's about 4 inches or maybe 4 to 3 inches, honestly, from the top, what's going to be the top of my shelf. So go ahead and add some twist ties. What I did was add one around the turkey baster hooks, like so. And then I used two more of the twist ties, making an X, going from one side to the other, like so. And then just tightening it. And then repeating the same thing again on the other side, which will make the X. And then once you have them all on there, adjust your hooks to make sure they're level, because right now you can see they're not too leveled. So just go ahead and adjust them, and then you make sure you firmly tighten your twist ties. Make sure you put them in the right way. So there you have it, and now you do the second one. Now the second one I did measure. I measured from the top of the first one to 7 inches down, and that's where I ended up making my second rack or shelf. And I just drew a little line and went ahead and repeated the same process, adding your Gorilla Glue and then your twist ties to your second turkey baster rack or hook. And then once I put all my twist ties, I went ahead and ran around and put some more Gorilla Glue and set it aside to dry. Now, getting your two signs, go ahead and remove the jute twine that it comes with on both sides and remove the back sticker. And then you go ahead and sand them down. Now, it doesn't take much to sand these down. And honestly, this part, I'm going to put it on the bottom side of my shelf, but I still wanted to go ahead and sand it down. So you just go ahead and sand it down a little bit. And when I sanded this down, I liked the way it looked. It looked really vintage style. So I went ahead and went and purchased another one and kept it as is like that. So go ahead and remove your sticker from the back. And what I use to remove my sticker is rubbing alcohol. And then I'm using some coral paint. I get my paint on the clearance rack at different hardware stores, Ace Hardware, Lowe's, anywhere, Home Depot, any of those places that sell paint. They usually have like a discount rack for them, and that's where I get them. People that don't like the color or they just mixed it wrong, let me know in the comments down below if you guys do the same, or if you guys have any suggestions of how I can get paint at better discount prices. So that's what I did, and then I just painted them front and back. And now I'm going to go ahead and remove all the excess straps or from the twist ties, and then I just lightly sanded everything down. and painted it the same color I painted my shelves, which is the coral. And then while once I finish painting this, I'm gonna go ahead and set it aside for a little while to dry. And now once everything is dry, we're going to go ahead and start assembling our shelves. Now, if I showed you right now the bottom part, what's going to be the bottom part of our shelf. So I started with the top shelf, added some Gorilla Glue, and then some hot glue in between. And you don't need a lot of hot glue, just a little bit, just so it'll help the shelf adhere to your rack hooks. That way it'll give the Gorilla Glue some time to dry. And I would recommend you using a glue gun that is on high heat for this part, because if it's on low heat, the glue tends to dry a lot faster. And since you're only putting little dots here and there, it'll dry and it won't help at all for it to stay, the shelf to stay in place. So go ahead and push down gently, not too hard, but just make sure everything is even. And I just eyeballed the first one to see if it was in the middle. And then I let it dry for, I want to say about a good 30 minutes before I moved it. And then once you let it dry, go ahead and do the bottom shelf the same way. Figure out where you want it. And this one I did use a pencil and kind of just line it, just to let me know where the rack or the hook is supposed to be at on the back of your sign. And then I did the same thing with the glue gun and the Gorilla Glue, adding Gorilla Glue first and then your hot glue. And then going ahead and adding some clips at the front so you can let it dry and set it aside for a little while. Let me know in the comments down below what you're going to use yours for and what color you're planning on painting it. So here I am adding my glue. Now I flip it down to its side so I can see the back of it, I guess you could say, so I can know that I put it where I had made my lines. And here I am putting my clips on the bottom where the hooks are at, just to give it some extra security, and adding a little bit of glue around it just to make sure it's nice and secure. And then once I'm letting the bottom dry, I'm going to go ahead and grab some of the jute twine. This basically is the jute twine that it came with. And I'm twisting it around what's going to be my shelf, just to give it that extra little bit of support. And also, since it had those openings from where the sign was hanging from, I wanted to go ahead and add something to it. And you just do it to both sides and tie a little knot. And once you tie and you're happy where they're at, go ahead and put a little dab of hot glue where you tied your knots, and then cut the remainder jute twine. Like so. That's the way it looks. And then I'm just going to add my glue and cut this off. And do the same to the bottom shelf. And then once I was done with the bottom shelf, doing the same thing, tying it, the jute twine between, I thought it needed something else. So what I did was grab some of the more jute twine and just make an X. And this is just design purposes, in between both shelves. So I went one side and then went to the opposite side. But before I put it through the opening on the bottom shelf or top shelf, depending on which way you're doing it, I twisted it in between like so, just a few times, just to give it that extra tightness. And then I did it to the bottom again, and then I inserted it through the other opening from the other side of the shelf. And here what I'm doing is, if your jute twine or rope, whatever you're putting, inserting through any opening, if it's unraveling, I just put a little dab of hot glue and with my finger twist it around it, and it hardens that little section so it kind of gives you a point like a needle. So I'm twisting it around again and then inserting it to the opposite side to make that X. And then once you did that, go ahead and pull and just kind of play with it until it's nice and tight everywhere, and then wrap it around a few times around the pole or the stick, and then you go ahead and make a good knot, about 2 knots. Add a little hot glue and then cut the remainder part of the jute twine. Now where the plunger came, where the twist part is at, I lost my footage, but I went ahead and wrapped some jute twine on that part, as you can see down here on this picture. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below where you're going to use it and what color you're going to paint it. Until next time, you guys stay blessed. Bye.